Hiya. So as I said in my last video, we're going through a golden age of synthesis at the moment. It's a time when small companies are coming through and coming up with products that I think are really going to shake up some of the larger companies. Today, it's the turn of Melbourne Instruments, who've come up with an absolute monster synth called NINA. Now, NINA is so attractive, I think you'll agree, that I've decided to dress up for the date. I've gone for a his and hers kind of vibe. Don't judge me. But in all seriousness, this thing is absolutely beautiful looking. It's built like a tank. It's got these moving encoders. Obviously, that's the biggest talking point. Some of you may worry, well, what when they go wrong? What about when they go wrong? But they're spec'd up so highly that their life expectancy is 500 times a conventional pot. And they're not just a novelty, because they really revolutionise the way you program sounds. So quick to get stuff going on. You know exactly where you are at every point in the proceedings. I'm going to show you how good it is. It also sounds absolutely monster. And as well as making very interesting electronic sounds, I think electronic musicians are going to make a lot of this if they really want an analog sound. It's also can really sound great as a classic polysynth. You know, it's got that classic sound. Anyway, let's check it out. Okay, so it's a 12-note synth with 4 layers, so you can have 4 different sounds at the same time, maximum of 12 notes, so you kind of have to be careful how you allocate them, but you can do it not evenly, so you can have like 1 note allocated to the first sound, 3 notes to the second, and the rest of the third, or whatever. So that's quite flexible, and it's also got 4 outputs, so you could have 4 mono-separate outputs if you want. So you've got 2 analog oscillators and 1 digital wavetable oscillator. So let me show you the analog ones first. It goes from a triangle to a square with a width that goes from a sawtooth to a triangle. Oscillator 1 also has a sub. It only comes in when you start to go towards the square. And oscillator 2 is the same as oscillator 1, except it doesn't have the sub and it's got sync, so you can sync the frequency to oscillator 1. So fairly conventional stuff so far, but the third oscillator is a digital wavetable. There's tons of waves in here. And you can put your own in as well. I believe there's quite a lot of generous space to do that. I've not tried to put in my own so far. Pretty cool sounding. They're pretty grungy and lo-fi, like the third wave, the last synth I reviewed. And you can have it interpolate or not between the points of the wave. Interpolation is because a wavetable has lots of different points where the audio is slightly different. It either just jumps between those points or it smooths it out. At the moment, it's smoothing it out. Though you wouldn't describe that sound as smooth, but very cool for sure. But if I take the interpolation off, you can hear. So both are cool effects. It depends what you want to go for. You've also got noise. You can have white noise, pink noise, auxiliary in, so putting an external input into it, on this XOR, which is a kind of sort of ring mod type thing, and it sums oscillator 1 and 2, I believe. It's a bit of a dark art, to be honest with you. Here, there, it's like a ring mod. Get kind of FM sounds. put that back to normal just for a minute. You've got a analog filter, which is a Moog style ladder filter. I'd say it's a bit sharper sounding than the mini Moog filter, for instance. It's got quite a sharp resonance, which gives it a character of its own. You can hear it's got quite a gnarly tone to it, which I really like. It's very characterful. It's not overly polite. If you want to smooth over the resonance, you can add, you've got drive here, so you can overdrive the circuit. You can hear what that's doing now. If I take it off, you'll get a very sharp resonance. Add the drive. So that saturation is softening the sharpness of that. And you can really use it as an effect, a creative effect. It's got an overdrive button as well, whereby it really goes into overload. You've got two LFOs with various shapes, and they are synchronizable as well. You can synchronize them to the clock. So, that's all fairly straightforward stuff. I just want to show you the effects. They're very, very limited because you've only got reverb, delay, and chorus. But the good news is the quality of each of them is super high, especially the reverb. I really love the sound of the reverb. And it's got that's actually on delay at the moment, so you can hear the delay. It also sounds very nice. I'll show you that. But I digress. Let's change to reverb, which is what I want to show you in the first place. It's really lovely sounding reverb. And it's got a shimmer, which is really nice. You get that high octave if you want to put it in. Really, really nice, I think. And I sort of prefer that approach personally, that, you've only got 3 effects, but they're really good. Let me show you the chorus as well. The only thing I'll say about the chorus is it's very subtle. You have to sort of crank it all the way up. But really nice, no phasiness, nice warm sound. Lovely, love the effects. This computer in here, by the way, is hackable, whatever that means. I'm not the right guy to tell you about that, but I guess it means if you're of that bent, you can get into it and make it do what you want it to do, add things, take things away. I really don't know, but it's quite interesting that it's hackable. So I'm guessing that means maybe they're going to add and augment this thing as it goes on as well. You're not just stuck with what's in it at the moment. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to, I'll just reload that patch. And I'll show you spin now. Spin is quite an extreme stereo panning effect that they say goes beyond the sort of full spectrum of stereo. It doesn't actually go beyond it, of course. It feels like it goes beyond it. I suppose that's the right way to explain it, because maybe a phase cancellation or something. It's very extreme. You wouldn't want to use it all the time, but it can sound sensational in the right place. This is what it sounds like. can probably hear it better on a pad. Let's find a pad. Hang on. Don't put it on when you're stoned. Anyway, it's a cool effect, and you can spin it in and out as you want. You've also got a more traditional pan effect, which I'll show you in a minute, but I just wanted to show you the morph function. So basically, every patch has an A and B patch. You can program two totally different sounds, or you can just load in a completely different sound on B, and then you can morph between the two, and you can see here all the parameters are changing. And this is not like a crossfade or anything. It's genuinely going from one patch setting to the next and everything in between. So, you know, unpredictable results, but can be very cool. You get the idea. It can be super extreme, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. And obviously you've got all the points in between where you might find, you know, something you didn't expect. As I said, you can layer 4 sounds, and you can have them in various different arrangements, either split across the keyboard or stacked upon one another. I think a lot of electronic musicians are going to really enjoy having something like a octatrack running different tracks on this and playing with it live, which you can do. It's very easy to go from one layer to the next. But firstly, I just want to show you Unison mode, because you've got poly unison on this, which is great because it really fattens out sounds and you can get stereo width on them. It's one of the things I love about the Jupiter 8 is you've got that kind of spread when you put it in unison mode. It really makes a synth. This can do that. So I've got a pad here. Okay, and now I can go in here and put it into Unison voices. Let's say I do 3, detune it a little bit, and spread it out. Suddenly it becomes rather massive, you know, and I can show you that on a more basic sound. Hang on, let's just find a basic sound. Oh yeah, I've got one here, Cloud 9. If I've got it in just one layer. And then let's stack that up. Becomes very fat. I'm not into massively detuned sounds, but I like that spread you get. I haven't talked about the moving encoders much yet, but this is where they come into their own when we start to go in multi-timbral mode and also into modulation mode. That's where they really come into their own. I've got a sound here which is split across the keyboard, bass, a sort of paddy type sound with aftertouch, and a classic sort of Moog style synth at the top. And the wonderful thing is, when I'm in this layer mode, if I press 1, 2 and 3, can you see it's instantly going to the settings of all these synths. So that's magical, you know, if you were running 3 things live, you can just switch from each one and tweak away, and you know exactly where everything's at. That is unique as far as I know. So you imagine that if you're sequencing stuff into it, you can be doing it all on the fly. If you're making kind of techno kind of vibes, I'm imagining that's going to be a lot of fun to play with. And it's just wonderful to know exactly where everything is, because when you've got a few things going on like that, quite difficult to tweak away, you know, but this makes it super, super easy. Let me go back to a single mode now, and I want to show you some of the modulation possibilities. I'm going to put the arpeggiator on. It's a very simple arpeggiator. Okay, so we've got a very, very simple sound going on there. And now I'm going to start modulating that sound. Let's start off with an LFO. All I've done is I've pressed mod, and then you can see down here at the bottom, these are all the modulation sources. So I'm going to use LFO 1 to start with. And I can just basically move anything I like and it's going to start modulating it. So it's now modulating all these sources, and you can just tweak around and have fun with it. It's fantastic. Let's get that on a hold for a second. All right, let's go over to LFO 2. I'll get that on something different. Make that a bit faster. And then we can modulate again with that. I mean, I'm doing this super randomly, but you get the idea. Then I'm going over to the B sound now. Let's program the B sound. Just super quick. This is just to show you. So now when I morph between the two, you get the idea. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It really is. And it's very quick and easy to mess around. And I think what I would use it for is just when I want to get something a bit techie in a track, which sometimes I do, I'd just get this out and literally run it very simply like that, or just programming a real quick sequence, which is all you can do because it's just 16 steps. It's super basic. And it'll play it back very slowly. Let's change that. Note value. There's a lot of modulation sources as well. I just want to show you another one. Now, this is using a modulation source called time, which is, you can almost think of it as an extra envelope, except you can't shape it. It just goes in one direction, but you can modulate it to go either way on all of these different parameters. So you can see here, it's making oscillator 2 go up in pitch over time, but because it's synced, you're getting that sync sound. wicked, and it's turning up the wavetable. You know, you could get it up to turn up the noise if you wanted as well. But you could also get it to turn things down. You could get it to turn the cutoff down. Not so exciting. Another thing I wanted to show you was using the pan, because if you put it into spread mode, you can assign different voices to the pan. And what it does, it steps between those voices, and you can use that as a modulation source. It's really interesting. So you can see what's happening there. It's stepping between the position of the wavetable. I'll make it more extreme so you can see what's going on. So there you go. It's innovative, it's different. I think it sounds really fat. I love the sound of it, and I find it intriguing. I really do. I find it very intriguing. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of my sounds. And by the way, I'm going to give some sounds to Melbourne Instruments. So if you do buy this, you'll be able to download them for free. Anyway, let's check some out.